Today I'm going to be showing you how to draw boxes in one-point perspective. Perspective is the optical illusion of things that appear to disappear in space and giving them depth. And for this assignment you're going to need your sketchbook, a pencil, an eraser, and any type of straight edge such as a ruler, but it does not have to be a ruler, anything that has a straight edge on it. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a horizon line. And the horizon line is where the ground and the sky meet, or it could be the eye level of the artist. A couple of rules for perspective is that vertical goes vertical, horizontal goes horizontal. Now I'm adding a vanishing point. This is the point where all of my objects are going to disappear. So I will have some converging lines, or called orthogonal lines, that are all pointing back towards that vanishing point. To start off my boxes, I'm going to simply draw a square. Remember, straight up and down goes straight up and down, straight across goes straight across. So I'm drawing my square or my box with those dimensions. And I'm lining up the vanishing point to the corners that do not actually draw through the object itself. So from the vanishing point to the corner, draw the line. You might want to draw these lines a little bit lightly because you do have to erase quite a few. And then that third vanishing line. And notice that bottom corner, if I would line it up with the vanishing point, I would actually draw through my object. So I'm not going to draw that one because I do not have a transparent or see-through object. In order to finish off my cube, I'm going to make a parallel line. So it goes straight up and down. The finishing line also goes straight up and down. With a cross, again, I go horizontal, I just slide it up, and I have a horizontal line. So they're making like an equal sign. They go the same direction. And from here, I just have to simply erase those extra lines that I drew. And now I have a three-dimensional looking cube. This box happens to sit below the horizon line, but I'm going to draw two more, one that is crossing the horizon line and one above it. I'll change the shapes of them a little bit so you can see what that would look like. My next box over on the left-hand side, I'm going to draw long and skinny like a rectangle. Again, up and down goes up and down, and across goes across. So vertical is vertical, horizontal is horizontal. Since I'm drawing it across the horizon line, I'm going to erase the horizon line in the middle of it because, again, it's not see-through or transparent. I am actually trying to make it a solid object. Same thing like I did with the box below the horizon line. Any of the corners that do not draw through my original shape, through that rectangle, I'm going to draw those to the vanishing point. So this upper left-hand corner, I would draw into my rectangle. Same with the lower left-hand corner. So those are the ones that I do not draw. But on the right-hand side, I will draw to the vanishing point. Same thing to finish this off. My line in between those orthogonals is straight up and down. So I'm going to just slide it over, create a straight up and down, erase the horizon line, and then also erase the vanishing lines. When I'm looking at this one, I'm really looking right at the face. I don't see the top or the bottom because I'm looking at the middle of it. The third box or rectangle I'm going to draw is going to be up in the sky and floating. Again, horizontal and vertical lines. I'll make this a long, skinny rectangle. And it's the exact same process where any line that does not draw through my shape, I need to line it up, the corners, with the vanishing point. And again, when I'm going to finish off this subject, the vertical line straight up and down on the corner of the original box is the same line that I would draw, and same thing with the horizontal line. So really, in 1-point perspective, I have 3 choices for my lines: vertical, horizontal, or to the vanishing point. If it's going any other direction, it's probably not a correct line. So making sure that you're following those rules. There are a few exceptions, but when we get to those, I will let you know what they are. I have only drawn 3 boxes here, but I will need you to draw 7 more. So you'll need to draw a total of 10 boxes for your assignment. And I'm going to have you add shading to them. First thing I need to do is figure out my light source. So here I'm drawing a sun in the upper right-hand corner, and that is going to be where my light is coming from. Now remember, light travels in a straight line, and it hits sides of objects before others. So the very first spot the light hits is going to be my highlight, or my lightest side. So I shade that in very, very lightly. The next side where it hits, in this case happens to be the front of this lower cube, is going to be darker. So I'm going to shade that in a little darker. Now remember, when you're filling in with shading, that you should go right up to the edge. Instead of having a big heavy black outline, it makes more sense just to fill in the values very solid. And then of course the third side that I see is the side that is opposite from my light source, is going to be the darkest side. So fill that in with the darkest value that you are comfortable with. It does not have to be completely black, but it should be darker than the other 2 values that you have, your light and your medium. For my other objects, same thing. I am going to draw the light, the medium, and the dark. This one in the sky, however, the surface where it would get the most light is on the top, and we don't see that because it's up in the sky. So in this case, that front surface, that little skinny surface, is going to be my lightest value. The next darkest surface is going to be the one that is on the bottom. That seems kind of counterintuitive because it's on the bottom of the light source, but realistically, it is getting some bounced light or reflected light from the ground. So therefore, that bottom surface is going to be my medium. And then the third side, which is the one that is on the left-hand side, that little skinny strip on the left, that is going to be my darkest value because it is completely opposite of where my light source is. It's not getting any reflected light from the ground, and that should be the darkest value. My last cube, since I don't see the top and the bottom, I only have 2 sides that are getting light. So the direct surface on the right-hand side that is getting most of the light is going to be my lighter value. And the front, in this case, is going to be darker. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be really, really dark, because that would really be the opposite side that we can't see. As long as it is darker than the value that you are creating for this first surface. Sometimes when you are adding these darker values, you might need to add an extra layer or 2 in order to get it to the value that you need. Your assignment is to create 10 boxes in your sketchbook that are in 1-point perspective and have value and shading to them, just like the examples I have here. So I've drawn 3. If you wanted to follow along and include these, that is fine. You will need to draw 7 more, or a total of 10 cubes, 10 boxes in your sketchbook. And that is what you will need to turn into me on the Google Classroom. Thank you.